So for instance, RBI on its own wrote in a recent report that, the high reserve money growth is one of the big reasons for the stock market exuberance that we're seeing in the country. So they said it on their own. But beyond that, there is a sense that it also stokes inequality. Beyond a point, it just only benefits the large companies, not the small borrowers. And of course, to the extent real deposit rates have fallen dramatically, that doesn't work for some of the pensioners and some of the vulnerable groups who live on interest income. So there's liquidity is a double-edged sword. It has helped in the last 18 months by avoiding big defaults, allowing corporates to delever. But at this point, it could be hurting some of the more vulnerable groups.
Right. I also want to touch upon very quickly, Pranjul, on the power shortage issue. I believe that some of the coal facilities in India are running at critically low levels. How concerned are you about that?
Well, moderately concerned, given that it's not just an Indian issue. I think it's a global issue at this point. I think the India-specific factor is important too. The fact that in the monsoon seasons, there was a lot of flooding in areas where coal is abundant, and that slowed the coal extraction process. So hopefully that is something that will improve in the next couple of months. But despite that, our sense is that there will be some shortage in the system, given that demand has started to rise far more quickly than supply at this point.
We just had Moody's upgrade India's outlook, even though they've kept the rating the same at the lowest level of investment grade at Baa3. 2-3 points there. One is obviously there was that scare that, after the second wave, the third wave would be even more damaging for the economy. We haven't quite seen that play out. I don't know what happens over the course of the next 3 months, but that'd be interesting. The consumption story as we get into the festive season and the state of the banks in India. How do you kind of link it all up?
Yeah, I think growth is in a good place. In the last couple of months, it was pent-up goods demand that was driving growth. But as vaccination rates are rising, we are seeing a pivot from goods to services. So services demand could support growth for the next couple of months. So I think things are looking good there. The financial sector has benefited from low interest rates, from a lot of liquidity. NPLs at banks haven't really risen, at least so far. So both the real economy and the financial sector look fairly robust. My only problem here is that we still haven't seen the economic cost that rising inequality can bring in. And this is the same thing we had seen back during demonetization. In the year of demonetization, everything was very good. The formal sector was growing. But the next 2-3 years, the pain that the informal sector had gone through started to hurt growth. So that is one thing I'm going to watch out for, the cost of rising inequality and what that does to overall demand. But to counter that, we're also seeing some new drivers in the economy, high skill exports, and a lot of exuberance in the digital tech companies, the startup space in the economy. So lots of interesting things in the economy, definitely more positive than we were a couple of months ago.